Hey y'all, have you ever thought about why your life is a certain way? Like, have you ever sat back and thought about the decisions that you've made and how many of those decisions, or all of them actually, is the very reason why your life may be the way that it is, why you go without, or why you don't have a certain something? For example, I tend to think long term, and I know we would like to say that, well, everybody who doesn't think long term? Everybody thinks long term, but a lot of people make decisions based off of right now instead of the future, right? For example, this is a very it's a prevalent example of something we see all the time, but something that I see, of course, too. And in a particular situation, I know, let's say, okay, you're a side chick to a married man. This is just a good example. You know that being a side chick is a very poor decision. It's a very poor choice. It's a very dishonorable and disgraceful thing. There's nothing positive that comes along with the title of being a side chick. You are essentially a homewrecker who does not love and value herself, because if you did, you would never settle for being just an option. You would never settle for a piece of a man who is lacking in his integrity. Right? We know there's nothing good that comes from it. Yet you could be a side chick who expects to be treated with respect as though you are a wife. And it's the weirdest phenomenon. It is the weirdest, strangest thing I ever saw any person, betray or exude. I know it's a body like that. And it's like, girl, you don't respect this man's marriage. You don't respect this woman by sleeping with her husband. But you want somebody to respect you. I mean, you really don't respect yourself in the situation. You're disrespecting the wife, of course. And you're disrespecting yourself because you were saying that you don't deserve better than what you are settling for, that you can't find better, and you feel that low within yourself to where you feel like, well, I'll just go ahead and mess with him. No, I'm not going to be able to get what I want from him. But, it's better than not having any man at all. And you'd have to come from such a low place within yourself to feel that way. I mean, 9 times out of 10, that man's not going to leave his wife, right? 9 times out of 10. But in the event that he does, and a lot of times it's usually because the wife finds out and then gets rid of him and kicks him out. So let's say in the event that he does, let's say he does leave his wife for you, side chick. Guess what? Your position is now open. And you already know deep down that you're insecure in the relationship. You don't trust him because you knew how you got there. Like they say, the same way you get them is the same way you will lose them. But you have delusional women that go into these situations. And I say delusional is like, because we all know better. We all have seen this a million times. They never leave the wife. And again, if they do, then now your side chick position is now open. So if you become the main one or his wife, then guess what? He has another spot to be filled because he doesn't have integrity. So it wasn't about you or you being the better option, you being the greatest thing or whatever it is that you thought, whatever you listened to, But a lot of women, you fall for this and you know better. But then you expect honor. You expect something good. And I know people like this who will claim they know God. What God are you talking about? And not the one of the Bible. But that's like a prime example, right? Or let me use myself as an example. I've been abstinent for 10 years because I vowed to the Most High that I would never again fornicate, that I would never again have sex outside of marriage, that never again will the name crystal and the word fornication be used again in the same sentence, right? And again, 10 years later, here I am, still unmarried, still saving myself, still doing what I said I was going to do, still, riding it out and walking in my commitment. But it's because the short-term gratification, like if I was to go out here, sure. I mean, sex is everywhere. Men are everywhere, okay? Like, men are everywhere, okay? To find sex wouldn't be hard. It is nothing but a call. It's nothing but a text. Literally, that's it. You know what I mean? Like, it's everywhere. But if I was looking for that short-term fix, or I wasn't thinking long term, that I would just go ahead and do it and not care. But because I meant what I said, and I'm going to honor my vow to the Most High, right? I'm going to honor my vow to the Most High. And then in that, I will be honoring my spouse when I do get with them. Because if I'm honor the Most High, how much more will I honor my spouse? Because honoring the Most High would be to honor my spouse, right? If I ever get married. But that was the commitment that I was willing to make. I'm not willing to rip off my future husband. I'm not willing to rip him off by giving of myself out here to somebody else in this day in life, right? I'm not willing to sell him short on that. Yeah, I've already been there and done that in the past, but had I known better, had I had a relationship with the Most High, had I grown and matured in myself sooner, I can be a complete virgin versus born again. But again, it's because I think about long term. I think about my life long term, not just in the moment. Because if I'm going to think in a moment, I could give up myself and give up my body. And I would let that little moment of joy or pleasure or whatever you want to call it, euphoria, and that one little moment will be the very thing that will sabotage my future. Or some of you would say, oh, no, why? No, God will forgive you or whatever. But no, this is big, y'all. Like, it's so much bigger than myself. Like, to promise him that, man, like, that's not something I ever want to mess up on. But to go 10 years, like, if I let him down, I'd let myself down. I'd let my future husband down. And that's not something I want to do. But because I think long term in my decisions and my actions, just like fitness, right? If you're thinking short term, you're going to keep making excuses for why you're having cheat meals when you haven't lost any weight, you haven't built any muscle, but you're having cheat meals when you shouldn't be at all, because you're literally cheating yourself out of the whole process. But you won't stay away from this because you're thinking about, that short-term fix, that short-term gratification, or that cupcake, that cookie, that brownie, whatever, that was so great, but it wasn't part of your diet. So you sabotage yourself and you keep yourself from being in your best of shape, right? But when you commit to the process, right? A lot of us will commit to fitness because we understand the long-term gratification, which is so much better than the short-term. You want long-term gratification, not short-term gratification that's just going to give you long-term guilt or regret, right? But you follow along the process and you're consistent. You do what you're supposed to do to reap those results. So we really can apply ourselves in so many different ways, and we can really apply ourselves the way that we need to. We can make better decisions for our future, things that we don't have to feel bad about, things that don't bring us shame, things that don't bring us guilt. Because let me tell you, a huge part of my confidence, first and foremost, it comes from the Most High. Because if I didn't know who I was within him, I wouldn't even have enough heart or gumption to walk this walk like I've been doing. I wouldn't really understand my worth and my value. So first and foremost, it's him. But because I truly value myself, and I'm very, I try not to take life too seriously, and I don't take myself that seriously. Like, I joke and laugh a lot. Like, if you know me, I got a lot of shenanigans with me, and I'm always joking, I'm always laughing. But when it comes to matters of the heart and my character, my integrity, my morals, and my values, it's something that I don't play with. No, it's not something that I always get right. But I truly strive to walk uprightly and to do that thing. And because I walk in that and I've built myself up in that, I've made it a practice of mine, a lifestyle. Like, my confidence is through the roof because I know I can do whatever I put my mind to, like, to build up this healthy self-esteem by first knowing who Yahuwah says I am and who he sees me and how he sees me and just how much he loves me despite not deserving it, right? To know that first and foremost, to start that building block for that self-esteem and that confidence and that true dignity, self-love, and respect. But then to choose wisely for myself, like to say, I'm saving myself for marriage. Again, it's first and foremost for the Most High, for his perfect will for my life. And I just want to be in obedience with him because obedience is far better than sacrifice, right? I would feel so much guilt, and I'm not willing to get that short-term fix when I'm going to have this long-term pain, y'all, because I would shatter my own heart if I went back on that. But to walk in that, like, to accomplish what you say you're going to do. And granted, I haven't got married yet, so there's still time to mess up. But I've gone 10 years, and I'm not messing up for nothing or no one. So to do that, to say I'm going to do this, and to walk in that, like, man, what a testament. Like, like I'm being true to my word, and that just builds me up and continues to build me up on the inside, especially when I hear people say, oh, a lot of women say that, but they don't stand on it. So, it's not to think that I'm better than anybody else, but because there have been women who have said it, but haven't really rolled it out. Like I know people like that. I've had friends that I lost because of that, because I was standing in that and being true to what I said I was going to do in my relationship with the Most High, my commitment to Him. I stood in that and they didn't, but it does seem like it's very rare to find that. But for me, it's such a gift, even if it means, again, going the rest of my life, even if I never find my husband and me just never having a sexual life, right? If I don't have that, if I don't have a sex life, like I've accepted it. But it's because of what I want long-term, that short-term gratification. I'm not willing, that short-term fix for the long term, like there's nothing in comparison. Like when you weigh it on the scale, why would you be willing to give of yourself in this short term way, which is just going to make you feel worse long term and going to mess up long term what's honorable, like what's praiseworthy? Like sometimes I have a hard time wrapping my mind around why people do the things that they do. And, especially when you old enough, like you're too old to not know better. You're too old to not know that walking in sin and sleeping with somebody's husband, living in adultery, you're too old to not know that you're not getting no blessings from that. God, the Most High, Yahuwah, is not about to bless you with somebody's husband. He's not. But guess what? As the word says, you will reap what you have sown. So you're over there breaking up a home. Sure, look, a cheater going to cheat. So if it's not what you was going to be with somebody else, but the fact that you're willing to be that fool and to let that be your character and your reputation, that is now a huge part of your reputation. The rest of your life, you were a home wrecker and you wrecked a home. To know that you're willing to go there, like, lowers you. You don't get it. Like, you're listening to the lies of this man. No good almost not going to happen. And 9 times out of 10, you don't feel good about yourself because deep down, you know you're wrong. You know you're in error, but you keep lying to yourself, thinking that you're okay with God, thinking that your husband again. But God's not giving you somebody else's husband, sis. But you're living in this. It's like, you just make yourself look crazy to the world. You devalue you. Nobody else did that. Nobody else did that. He didn't even do that. You did that to yourself because you said yes to such a foolish and stupid situation. But you're living off of that short-term gratification or what you think you're going to get long-term. But how can you expect a blessing in that when it's deceitful and like it deteriorates? Like you're helping to sow discord and pain and things of the enemy, things of the devil. Like you're not doing nothing positive or fruitful, or whether it's karma, or again, some people talk about karma, what goes around comes around. Again, I call it you reap what you sow, as the word says. But whatever faith you have, whatever walking you walk, you have your own. Everybody has their own little saying of what goes around comes around. So why would you be willing to put that on yourself? But this is just one of the crazy things that people do. You expect beautiful, pure, and wholesome things from the most foolish, selfish, and immoral situations. And it's mind-boggling. It's so mind-boggling. I can never expect anything good in my life if I'm being a willing participant in destroying somebody's home, destroying somebody's heart, destroying somebody's family, destroying anything. If I'm just, if I'm being a willing participant, like I'm intentionally ruining something, yes, to sleep with somebody's significant other is intentionally ruining something, okay? Don't say that's not what you were trying to do. That's what you are doing, whether directly or indirectly. Sleeping with their spouse is intentionally ruining somebody's home. I just couldn't do it. And then we wonder why bad things happen to us. Yes, and even bad things happen to great people, because that's life. But to think that you deserve anything good or good is going to come from your willful, sinful nature and choosing these poor things that you choose. Oh, look, I'm not perfect either. I think wrong, Again, we sin in just thought alone. So if anybody thinks they're without sin, you're lying to yourself. But just to give you something to think about. Yes, we will stumble into sin, but you're not stumbling when you're willingly and consciously walking in that. So if you're willfully and consciously walking in sin, how could you possibly expect the Most High to bless you with anything or to give you anything good or for anything good to happen to you? Your life will only be what you allow it to be. And your decisions right here, right now, in this day, will pave the way to it, good or bad. So ask yourself, what right now in your life do you need to remove, to quit, to fix, to let go of, and to fix? Think about that. Word of encouragement. Take care.